Hey guys, welcome to another video brought to you by Total Control Traders. In today's video, we're going to be tackling one of the most commonly asked questions. Should you contribute to RSP or TFSA? What is the best way to tackle it? Alright, let's get into it. So what is RSP and what is TFSA? RSP or Rrsp is Registered Retirement Savings Plan. Simplified, RSP. We don't use the first R because both accounts are registered accounts, and TFSA is tax-free savings account. Now the government came out with both accounts for different purposes, so we will get into what the purposes are, how they're intended to be used, and what is best suited for you. First, RSP was introduced as a retirement savings vehicle versus tax-free savings. It was introduced for savings purposes. Second, RRSP or RSP is tax deferred. Not tax-free, but tax deferred. That is the key word, deferred. TFSA is tax-free. Third, as most of you know, upon contribution to RSP, you will get tax refunds. And upon withdrawing from RSP, you will have to pay tax. Versus tax-free savings account, there is no tax consequences on contribution or withdrawals. Fourth, how is the room accumulated? On RSP, it is accumulated via 18% of your gross income from the year prior, whereas TFSA is $6,000 per year on January 1st. And as of now, if you turned 18 on the year that tax-free savings account became available, the maximum amount you can contribute is $75,500. And if you wanted to drill down to the details of what each year's limit is, I have it pulled up here, and this is directly from the Canada Revenue Agency website. Between the years of 2009 and 2012, it came out at the year of 2009. So between those 4 years, it was $5,000 per year, adding up to $20,000. Then from there, 2013, 2014 was $5,500. And 2015, partially due to the election, it was increased to $10,000 for that one single year. All right, so $20,000 plus the next 2 years of $11,000 plus the next year of $10,000, and then 2016 to 2018, 3 years of $5,500. That brings $16,500. And then 2019, 2020 is $6,000, making $12,000. And then 2021 is also $6,000, bringing us to a total of $75,500. So depending on what year you turned 18, you would start your room based on that year's room. Let's say you turned 18 at 2012, you would get $5,000 for 2012, then going forward. Easier way to calculate this is use that $75,500 minus the 3 years of $15,000. Will bring you to $60,500. That would be your total room. And then from there, how the room works is different as well. On RSP, the room is not returned upon withdrawal. Meaning, if you were to withdraw, let's say you contributed $5,000, and then next year you made $10,000, giving you $1,800 room, you withdraw that $5,000, your net room that you can contribute remains at $1,800. You do not get the withdrawal amount back as a room. Versus TFSA, whichever amount you withdraw, you get that as a room back in the following year. However, there is a delay to this because banks having to report to CRA, and generally your online CRA website updates at around end of February. The amount that you withdraw, you get that back as room the next year. That will come in as a part of the topic in the next few points. RSP, loss of room via investment, you do not get that returned because you do not get what you have withdrawn back as room. Versus TFSA, loss of room via investment. So let's say you contributed $55,500 today. 1 month down the road, you invested in GME. You were investing in stock. You invested in mutual funds. It went down, as an example. It went down by 1,000, and you decided you're gonna withdraw the whole thing. Your room until the end of the year is 0 because you don't get what you've withdrawn back as a room until next year. Coming next year, your room is 74,500 because you lost that 1,000. So 74,500 plus next year's new room, which will likely be 6,000, maybe even 6,500. All right. So same vice versa. This is where that key of withdrawn room is returned comes in play. Same vice versa. On TFSA, let's say you put 75,500 in. Your account grew by 1,000 to 76,500, and you withdraw the whole thing. Next year, you get back 76,500 plus next year's room. Meaning essentially, your maximum contribution room on TFSA is now outweighing those who have never contributed to TFSA. So that is very key. And then the next point is spousal availability. On RSP, you can contribute to your spousal RSP. And what that does is it counts towards your contribution, thus lowering your taxes, and you'll get a tax refund. And then 3 years, if your spouse were to withdraw that amount, 3 years later, it will be taxed at his or her hand. But if they were to withdraw within the 3 years, it will be taxed back at your hand. So this has to be very clearly understood between the couple, between the spouses. As for TFSA, it is for individuals only. So spousal can be very powerful for retirement planning. And part of the reason why that interests people is between a couple, let's say one has substantially higher income. That spouse will contribute to the spousal RSP, getting the tax reduction for that year's income. Then coming retirement, the spouse would then withdraw the spousal RSP and tax at her hand, because essentially the one contributing to spousal RSP would already have quite a bit of, whether it's pension income, whether it's maxed out RSP or maxed out PPS, maxed out OAS. Their income would be already higher than their spouses. So it's tax planning for the future. And that's why whether the spousal availability is there or not matters. And last but not least, transferring upon death. With RSP, you can transfer the RSP to your spouse, or it can be withdrawn. However, if it's withdrawn, it will be taxed as that year's income. So let's say your RSP has 150,000 left. 100,000, let's say an easy number, 100,000 left upon your passing. That 100,000 is going to be all taxed at once as that year's income. But it does provide availability to be transferred to your spouse. However, there are limitations, such as being able to transfer to spouse or dependent children. Whereas TFSA, even if you were to withdraw all of it at once upon passing, or your spouse were to withdraw it all at once, there is no tax consequences. And if this was for your spouse, it can be transferred to the spouse within TFSA. So it can remain that tax-free without using up her room. Alright, so now that brings us to the main question. Which one is right for you? Which one is most useful? Which one is better? Well, ultimately, the answer comes down to depending on your personal situation. What is your income? What income tax bracket are you in? What income tax bracket do you expect to be in upon retirement? Those are crucial points to determine whether if you should be contributing to RSP or TFSA. And I'm going to bring this up just to show you what I mean by what income bracket you're in matters in determining which one is better for you. As we can see, on the federal tax bracket, if you reside in Canada, on the federal tax bracket, first bracket for 2020 was $48,535, and that income taxes at 25%. The next bracket up goes from that number, $48,535, to $97,069, and that bracket taxes at 4.5 or 5.5% higher. Then the bracket after that, from $97,069 to $131,220, is taxed at another 5.5% higher. Then it goes up by slightly decreasing percentage, but the range is not nearly as much either. Okay, so ultimately, let's say that you're currently in the six figures, just the low six figures income. Your marginal tax rate is at 36%. And in financial planning, when we plan for retirement, generally you're looking at about 60 to 70% of your income, pre-retirement income, sometimes 50%. So it's anywhere ranging between 50 to 70%. You will not be requiring your full income upon retirement because ideally your mortgage will be paid off, your car loan will be paid off, your other debts. Most people wouldn't be going into retirement carrying debt. So knowing that, generally, most cases, they will go down by one tax bracket. So let's say your current income, however, is in that first tax bracket, getting taxed at marginal rate of 25%. In retirement, you're likely to stay in that tax bracket. So there is not really a benefit for you to be contributing to RSP because you will not be saving tax. Now, a lot of people argue that there is a benefit, and I do understand that. The benefit is during your work time, you contribute to RSP. You save that marginal tax rate of 25%, average tax rate of about 20%. So let's say you contribute $1,000, $2,000. Let's say you contribute $2,000 to your RSP. You would get $400 back in tax return. Then you can use that $400 towards paying off your debt or contributing towards TFSA. Yes, that is beneficial, but from a pure tax standpoint, you're not going to be benefiting from contributing to RSP because upon retirement, as you withdraw from RSP, you will be paying back that same tax bracket. That same 25% marginal tax rate or average of 20%. Whereas if you are making over 48 and in retirement, your annual income is expected to be under that tax bracket, you will be saving that marginal tax rate of 5.5% difference. There is another factor to consider. Let's say right now you're making $80,000 as an example. Your annual income is $80,000, and you are expecting that within the next 5 years, say you're 30 years old right now, within the next 5 years, you're looking to be making over six figures. Then potentially what you want to be considering is save that tax room, that RSP contribution room, for when you reach that next bracket. Because upon reaching of the next bracket, every dollar you contribute, you will be saving an additional 5.5%, the difference between 36% and 30.5%. So that is another thing to consider for your RSP contributions. Most people, majority of the people, would likely be within that first 3 tax brackets. And that is something to consider when you're considering how much or if you should be contributing to RSP. However, when it comes to TFSA, it is so simple. You have extra money, you put it in. What a lot of people do, and what I used to recommend my clients to do, depending on their income, they want to be contributing to RSP. Again, depending on their income, we would determine the amount that they will contribute to their RSP, then use the tax refund to contribute towards their TFSA. Tax-free savings is an extremely powerful investment vehicle now. Each individual, considering if you turned 18 at the year of 2009, your contribution room is $75,500 per person. Between a couple, that brings you to $151,000. $151,000, that number alone, for the majority of us, would be hard to max already. So think about the power of return on that $151,000. Imagine, even if between the couple, between the two of you, you contributed $100,000 to your TFSAs combined. On an average mutual fund, your return, 10-year average, should be looking at roughly between 3 to 7%. Every year, you'll be getting $3,000 to $6,000 return. On $150,000, that's another 50% on top, so you'll be looking at $4,500 to $10,000. That is extremely powerful, especially upon withdrawal. It is tax-free. So to put it simply, which one is better? TFSA. Because it is hassle-free, there is no tax consequences on contributions or withdrawals, but it is not better for everyone. If you are in the high income tax bracket, you definitely want to be utilizing your RSP room, your tax refund that you can receive, then use that refund to contribute towards your TFSA. With both accounts, you do have the ability to open multiple different types of vehicles. You can either have just the savings portion, you can have the GICs portion, you can have tradings portion, or you can have an investment mutual fund account portion. You can have all 4 for both of them if you wanted to. But ultimately, the room for them comes down to the same. Let's say you have $75,500 room on TFSA, you have 4 accounts. The 4 accounts total contribution room is still the same at $75,500, not $75,500 for each account. So with both accounts, you do have the ability to trade, to invest, to gain that higher return. But do understand, the higher your account balance goes, upon withdrawal on RSP, there is a tax consequence. Versus TFSA, there is no tax consequence. I hope this video was able to help answer some of your questions. If you do have any additional questions that I wasn't able to answer in this video, please make sure to comment down below. Thank you for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoy the content. If you're looking to get out of debt or build that first pot of gold, make sure to hit the like and the subscribe button to get updates on our daily videos. Also, check out our website at totalcontroltraders.com. It features a 24/7 trading community, as well as educational courses and videos as well. Hope you guys stay safe and be in control. I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching, guys.